I worked out why I'm such a needy little bitch. This is going to be a fun video. Around age 13, my life changed dramatically at home. I no longer felt welcome as part of the family and always felt the need to be called upon rather than being an active member of the family, if that makes sense. It affected me socially as well, because it would make me overcompensate with new groups of friends to try and stand out. I felt more welcome in some of my friends' families in some years because of how much time I ended up spending with them and their families. I think one summer at school I ended up staying around one of my best friend's houses at the time for a week in the 6-week summer holidays, and my mum ended up dropping some clothes off just so I could stay around there longer. Yeah, I was thanks for letting me stay that week. That was good old RuneScape days. Anyway, this scenario popped into my head today. It's a true story and there's many like it. But imagine you get a phone call on the house phone and you answer it by the kitchen, and your mum and stepdad are in the living room. It's a cordless phone, so you do have the option to take the phone into the living room, but as you no longer feel welcome in your own home and intimidated by the new guy that lives there, you knock on the glass pane of the living room door and signal to your mum that there's someone on the phone so she can come to the living room door and collect it. And it's not like we lived in a mansion. It's not like I was going, oh, can you come to... It's like a small 2-bedroom house we had, and yeah, just knock on the door of the living room window and be like, yeah, there's someone on the phone for you. And then she would come just to get the phone off me because I didn't feel welcome in my own house. Just imagine the feeling that gives you in your own home and how much it changes you socially, trying to make friends. And so now you're stuck in your room, basically, the only place that you feel safe. You get lost in TV, video games, electronic devices, always relying on a notification or a message, because you know that's when someone actually wants you or has interacted with you. In fact, there is one year when my brother had a girlfriend, and obviously I couldn't stay in my room all the time then, and my nan ended up buying me a laptop that I would use in the kitchen, not the living room. Any normal kid would have just went into the living room and sat with his parents to watch TV for the evening while their brother's girlfriend was around, and they were... Well, it wasn't Netflix and chill back then. I don't know what they were doing. Probably Channel 4 and fucking. That was what it was called back then. But not me. I would be constantly refreshing a page on RuneScape or Neopets, whatever game I was playing back then. Checking my emails as if I was some fucking businessman at age 14. Going, oh yes, I've got a free subscription to this new website. Oh, I'm so important. Yeah, and social media for no reason, because back then no one was using it. Now it's all people use. People don't even communicate. If you call them, they think something is wrong automatically nowadays. So finding a meaningful connection, especially in this day and age, is tough, but it means so much. Especially to me, when I've always clinged on to a proper relationship rather than an online one. Although I would always be relying on some electronic device or notification to keep me feeling wanted back then. Having the confidence to be yourself in your own home can take a lot out of you mentally and socially. Even at school, I was one of the first people to use the safe room, which is where a kid went if they were getting bullied or found it hard to fit in socially. Even at school, I was one of the first people to use the safe room, which is where a kid went if they were getting bullied or found it hard to fit in socially at break time. This is a new concept for many people, especially at the time that it happened. And it's been theorized that maybe it is a step too far for children. Sometimes kids should be exposed to this sort of behaviour and learn how to interact with it. It helps develop a better attitude and how to deal with bullying in social situations. It's part of growing up, essentially. It did in fact make me feel like an outcast even more, as I was confined to this special room while everyone else at school was out on the playground. Although I did get to play House of the Dead 2 on the PC, and I ended up inviting some friends into the room to play it too. But sometimes the loneliest kid is the coolest kid. However, it has made me overcompensate many times on nights out. It made me embarrass myself many a times for lack of feeling myself in my own surroundings. It has destroyed my chance at creating any serious relationships, as when I get too attached to someone, then it changes, as I'm not used to getting the attention that you get from a relationship like that, and I get too clingy. I had a very supportive family, but unfortunately my household that I grew up in wasn't very stable. There are many other stories where I felt so alienated in my own house that it's completely changed who I am as a person. There's no need to place blame this late in my life, but I'm glad I can acknowledge why I am the way that I am now. There are so many underlying things that I feel I can solve for my mental health through diagnosing these feelings of being oppressed or secluded, the feeling of waiting to be called upon all the time. Because whatever the relationship may be, I always get giddy if a person calls upon me. I feel wanted and I feel welcome, which I'm not used to in my life. It could just be a friend asking what I'm up to, how my day is. That's why when it's a romantic relationship, things get really serious for me, and that person becomes my everything, especially if they are helping me mentally, not just a temporary thing or a physical vice. However, socially, I think this makes me a very unique person. I think this is what makes people attracted to me, because they haven't really met anyone like me before. I rarely say no, but I do have an attitude. I'm a people pleaser as well, because I want to be loved. I'm not a bit over the top, I'm always over the top, because I'm too open and I overcompensate. Everyone will eventually know everything about me. This is proof of that. However, I think telling the right people and having the right people in your life encourage you in the right direction from what they know about you is the solution to living a happy life. You've just got to be careful who you share with. Sometimes you don't get to share with anyone, maybe not till a late age in your life, or you might share with various people on a daily basis. So you get to vent in different ways and get different opinions from different people on how to progress in your life. However, if you don't feel welcome, socially rejected, need to be called upon first rather than having the confidence to speak out, then you're going to struggle with opening up, speaking about your problems. This will lead to negative thinking, self-destructive patterns, and thinking you're not good enough for anyone, for your friends, family, and especially those you have been most open with. Fortunately, this is all in your head. It will pass, but you do need to be patient. It is about finding the right people that you can open up to. those you feel comfortable with, and those that make you feel at ease when talking about your most difficult problems that are in your life. It won't be easy, but I promise with the right people around you, it will be a more welcoming stage in your life. As for social media addiction, constantly checking to see if someone loves you, this can be changed. You can change what notifications you receive. Only put on the ones that you need. Schedule your phone time. Research actually shows people are less happy after messaging on social media, but feel more uplifted after a phone call or a face-to-face interaction. So if you are going to use your phone more, try and use it for what it was invented for and actually talk to someone. You might feel happier. Or a FaceTime, best of both. Either way, if you're constantly checking your phone for a message or a notification, it will only be a short millisecond of happiness once you've seen it, and then you're waiting for the next one. If you've been raised to feel like you need to be called on first before you reach out or talk to anyone, suggest something from your own accord, then you'll always be waiting for someone to message or call you. It's an endless cycle. No one can be in constant contact with you. No one is constantly going to be interested in you. Sorry if it sounds harsh, but it's just fact. You are your biggest fan, so if you do feel alone, try remembering some good qualities about yourself. See if you can work on those, or even improving some of the negative ones. I guess you'll never be lonely when you have yourself. Fuck, that sounds lonely, doesn't it? Anyway, peace out.